Hey YouTube, here to show you a new waste oil burner I just made. I've been wanting to do this for quite a while and looking at some other videos. Finally came up with something that was probably just more out of ease of acquiring different things. I got a 40-gallon lowboy hot water heater. And I stripped it down, put some legs on it, made some legs for it, cut out a door, made a crude door handle and some hinges, just out of angle, and ended up cutting them off. I used a 5-inch pipe, mainly because it was available. I was going to go with 6-inch, but that was quite pricey and not as available. Just stuck a hole in the side of my metal pole barn, and there's really no wood around it, about a foot away maybe, and I put some pink insulation there to keep the heat right there. My fuel reservoir is a old Freon tank, and I put a bulkhead fitting at the bottom, probably a couple inches up, just to make sure no water got in there. Water will go to the bottom. Put a shut off, 1/2-inch copper. I started with 3/8 copper, that didn't seem to be big enough. And went to a needle valve, mainly for a more precise regulation of how much oil comes out. I copied Jerry's DIY for the input, fuel input, and so drill a hole so you can see the amount of oil coming down. Got it attached to a blower, a hot water heater blower, and I just cobbled up some pipe to get me to a 1-inch, which I used the 1-inch fitting that they had for Elements, and I used that, and I kind of got my copper too hot there, and I'll have to redo that when I was putting the fitting on. Didn't have the right solder, and I got the copper too hot, kind of distorted it, so I'm going to redo that. Made a door, and I'll open it up here so you can see the flame. Just used a like a 12-inch stainless steel pot. Cut some holes in it. Put a brake rotor on it just to divert the flame a little bit. And that's the 1-inch pipe coming in with the copper inside of it, just dripping down. You can see that it gets red hot down there. There's really no smoke that comes out here into the room, even with the door open. It's a good burning. I'm not real happy with the heat output of it though for the room. I mean, it gets hot, and I've had it up to about 750 degrees here, and right now it's about 535 Fahrenheit. I was kind of concerned about how hot things are getting around it, but I moved some of these boxes, and they're about 3 feet away, but they're getting to be about 110 degrees, which I'll probably move them. The pipe there, that's 450, 60-ish. I can't really read directly on the pipe for some reason. It doesn't give an accurate reading when you're on the shiny part of the pipe. But if I go to the label here, that seems to be accurate. Up above there, about 250. That's kind of the same insulation they use around an oven. So I don't think that's going to be a problem getting too hot, that pink insulation. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It gets my shop up to about 50 degrees. I do have a gas heater that I use sometimes just to take the chill off in the wintertime. But you know, that gets costly. It's natural gas, but still uses a lot of gas. I'm trying to reduce my cost here and just working around here. 50 degrees, you know, it's pretty nice when it's only probably 30 out right now outside. But this was my first attempt at a stove. You know, right now it's dependent on air. I think it would operate, but it smokes more without air. And I'm thinking about, I've seen some guys put something in the bottom. I was thinking about cutting a hole in the very bottom up there, putting a cylinder and a pot down here, and letting that operate. See if that will operate without air. But I've been experimenting with the quantities of oil, and this is about just about a pencil lead, a little more than that coming in. And I think this holds about 2.5 gallons of oil. And it's been running around 3 hours now. You can see I screened that off, which is really necessary because look what I've found just in the oil containers. If I didn't filter that would go into the tube and plug up my needle valve here. So as long as that stays pure oil, I think I'll be all right. Just got some gadgets on the top just to experiment with heat, and yeah, so I'm pretty happy with it. My door, as it gets hot, it expands, doesn't seal real good. I thought about putting some kind of a sealer there, but it doesn't seem to need it. I mean, there's no fumes coming out. So yeah, very simple operation. I'm glad I did it. I might experiment maybe next year with putting something on the bottom, another type of burner. But for now, this seems to work pretty good. One thing I want to do is put a dryer thermostat. They have the ones that will advance the timer after it gets to a temperature. I'm going to put that like right up in here. I'll run the wire here. This stays pretty cool on this side, mainly because this pipe is blowing air, so this stays pretty cool to the touch. It starts getting warmer up here, and that's pretty, I mean, that's pretty hot, but up here. But that stays cool. One benefit is this air, there's a little bit of air that comes out of here, and I think it helps to cool. It's not a sealed area, so this blowed air that comes in, it's kind of coming out here and keeping that cool. I was kind of thinking about leaving those open just for the sake of if I don't want to use the blower, there's some kind of induction air, intake air. Nothing comes out. In fact, it tends to be a little draw there when I was trying it with, probably don't want to use that. But it tends to suck air in there rather than blow it out. I can feel it. I can feel it kind of sucking that in. Yeah, it just kind of sucks that in. So that's pulling air in, even with the blower going. So there's a good draw coming off the flue there. We'll see what the current temperature is here now. I did add some heat to it, add some oil. Yeah, so now we're back up into the 700 range. And that's a little higher than I wanted it to be. So I'm gonna just drop it back about a quarter turn and see what that does. I came back and it was almost just dripping. I was gone for a couple hours. And so I opened it up a half a turn. And that seemed to be a little too much. So I don't really want to get it that hot here. It doesn't need to be that hot. So yeah, now it's coming down already, kind of immediately. Well, maybe not. Hottest point still around a little under 750. That's 450. I'll walk outside here and give you a look at the flue. So this is the flue. Yeah, we're in northern Michigan. So I just brought the pipe out and just secured it to the eave. And you can see it's smoking just a little bit, but that's fine. It's not like a lot of black smoke. There's a little bit of dark smoke, but I've seen it burn cleaner than that. I think it's just to the point of maybe a little bit too much oil, not for the amount of air that I'm pushing it. I put it on the low setting on that blower. Took the low wire and hooked up to the power. So there's no discoloring of the paint. Almost fell off this ladder attaching those brackets there, but I've got it pretty secured, and I'll take the ladder in shortly. So we'll go back inside, see how it's doing. So my tank is still burning off some of the insulation that was attached to it in the glue. Got a little brush here. I've been brushing this stuff off. A little bit of glue that stuck on. As I get it hotter, stuff tends to come off more. But most of it's burned off already. Yeah, I was a little concerned at how hot things would get here close to it. I've had wood stoves before and those get pretty hot. But I don't think it's a factor here. This wall gets to be about 125, 135. That can't be right. I don't think it's 700 degrees here. It's probably reflecting on that. Yeah, that's like 828 degrees there. So that's probably the hottest point. But it's not hot here at the back of the wall. If it does get too hot, I can always put a shield back there. I don't really want it to get too hot. You know, being 800 degrees, that's still a little too hot for me, I think. I want to keep it maybe around 600. So I'm going to close this another quarter turn. It seems to be pretty precise because it's almost to the point of knocking the oil off. So a little less than a quarter turn, knock it down. You can't really tell by the flow there. But it seems to, you know, the less oil you got, the less it's going to burn. But I mean, that's a pretty good burn. You can see the pot gets red hot. And the thing I like about it, it's smoke free. There's no smoke, and I can turn this blower on independently, and it does help to bring the temp up, circulate the air, but I wanted to kind of see what it would be like without that, using more electricity. This blower, you can hardly hear that it's on, but once I put this dryer thermostat on, it'll close contacts when it gets hot, which will turn the blower on. And then when this cools down, after I come out or it runs out of oil here, then the blower will shut off automatically as the contacts will open. So that's my idea of, you know, being able to walk away from it when I feel like it's safe to do that, and it'll shut down the burner and it'll shut down the blower. We'll see if that's how it's going to work. But for right now, got any questions, you can shoot them to me. I'll report if there's any changes. Signing out.